Now, if you've ever watched one of my videos, you should probably know by now that there are many, many different ways to skin a MacBook. Or, I mean, not necessarily skin, just install a different operating system onto, but, I mean, in order for this method, skinning is involved, so, yeah. But anyways, now, most methods, or the two most traditional methods for installing an operating system like this onto a computer like this is to use either Refind or just edit the installation media so it doesn't error out and actually works in the default Apple bootloader menu thing. But what about if you want to do none of those things? What about if you don't want to have to install Refind or edit your installation media? Which could be useful if you don't have any spare CDs or don't actually have an operating system installed on the MacBook, which kind of makes sense, I guess. So, what do you do then? Well, using this method, you can actually just use an SSD and the installation media. But there is one caveat to this, though, and that's you need an entire other computer. But yeah, it's not really that hard. Now, the computer you choose for doing this really doesn't matter. But for this, I'll be using ThinkCenter M58 Type 7360-V8C. Now, what exactly computer you use for this doesn't really matter, just as long as inside it has SATA. So we just got to take this hard drive out, which and we don't need this. Yeah. So now all we got to do is take this and put it back in here. So we just take the SSD, and don't drop it on the table, and we just plug it in, and it's ready to go. Broke the hinge on this. So now that I've got everything ready for the computer to actually be usable, all we've got to do is take the installation media and put it into USB port, like that. That's all you gotta do is, even though this should boot up to the temporary startup device automatically because there's nothing bootable in here, I'm just gonna show how to do that anyway. So you just find USB HDD, and now we are booting into Linux. And now, as we can see on this very, very, very bright and modern display, that we are now loading Kubuntu. And we can even look and see what exactly it is loading if we press, and it's too late. So now all we gotta do is click, that's on the floor now, all we gotta do is click install and just run through all of the steps. As we only have one disk, we can just do it like that. Hey, wouldn't it be cool? Okay, Lux. Yes, Lux is cool. Yeah, I always wondered if Lux works. So now I got it, and this is gonna ask all the questions again. It's gonna ask what my name is. Just fill this in. So yeah, this is definitely taking longer than I expected, but it's got to do all of the Linuxy things, I guess. And now it is ready to restart. And I'm thinking we're not going to restart it, we're then just going to, we're going to click restart, but then it's going to ask you to remove the installation media, or not. Usually it does, but okay. Just going to remove the installation media and turn it off. And now you might be wondering, well, what did this accomplish? Like, well, if the computer would stay off. Okay. We now have an install of Lubuntu on the SSD, which is rather conveniently still inside the computer. Upside down, but Okay. So now that it's done installing, we can just take this SSD out, you know, while it's still plugged into the wall and everything, and just put it in the MacBook. At least theoretically this should work. And now it is time, without any further ado, my least favorite part, that being putting the actual SSD in here, which requires a screwdriver, which I have neglected to bring over. I mean, I will say, out of all the computers I have taken apart, this one is by far my least favorite to take apart. Mostly because of the fact the whole thing is just screwing. That's all you do to take this thing apart. It's just all screwing. There's no things to bend, there's no things to unclip, it's just screwing. It's all screwed together, and in order to... I mean, okay, there's a little bit of unpopping, I will admit. This bit here has clips, but other than that, it's just like 24 screws. 24 screws have to be taken out. It's not exactly challenging, it's just it's just time consuming. You have to take all the screws out. And now that that's all taken care of, all we gotta do is open it up, pull on the back. Oh, I forgot the... You know, I always, whenever I work on this computer, I say to myself, okay, these require a special bit. I'll save them afterwards, because I never forget to take these out. Though so far, all the times I've done that, I forgot to take it out. So, yeah. There's two star screws. Right here and here. That needs to be taken out. And so now that that's done, we can... see? It doesn't resist that time. Just sort of like that. Give a little force. Really not supposed to do it that way, but it works. And you can already see the hard drive, which it's right there. I've noticed something. That isn't an SSHD. This is a Western Digital Blue. I can't remember when I put this in here, but okay. Remember, is that really small Torx? I hope it's not. That would be incredibly annoying. It's like, why would you put Torx inside of the computer? I've already got inside of it. Throw me a... Okay, so it is Phillips. Okay, nice. So, we just gotta take off that, pull out the Bluetooth module from inside of its area. Move this out of the way, push it that way so you can get at this thing. Or do I'm going to pull it up from the back. Or that's not the back. Oh, so it has to be pulled up from this side because the other side slotted into the chassis. That makes sense. Just pull it out. Pull it back, and where'd that screw go? So now that I've tracked down the missing screw, all we gotta do then is this thing actually closes perfectly fine. Don't push it down too much because there's like stuff in there. So just push it down until it magnetically locks with the locking mechanism that is still in there. Just move that out of the way. So we can work on this. So this... Wait, hang on. Wow, okay. So this is just your basic 500 gigabyte 70... Is it 5200 or 2010? It better be 7200. I think the actual speed is probably under this dumb sticker I put here. So, yeah. Most probable cause of this hard drive ending up in this computer is the fact it was on my desk for too long, and I decided to put it in the first thing I could find. Which would not be the first time. The funny part is how I have actually no recollection of it ever happening in the first place, which, again, that wouldn't be the first time. But that's done. Rather conveniently, you might notice that the SSD is the same size as the hard disk it's replacing. So we just have to repeat the steps. So, put shock dampers on an SSD. And we just pull this over here. Open it. Ha ha ha, there's no wait. So when was it I said that this was easy? I kind of take it back. Wow, I've made that worse now. Hey, I got it. Nice. So, we've assured the fact that this SSD won't be going anywhere in the case if it ends up in a tumble dryer. You know, I really do wonder, where is this Bluetooth thing supposed to go? Does it go here? Because I really don't think it should go here, and it keeps pushing on this thing. So, I don't know how that's supposed to work. I swear it was part of the palm rest, but to be fair, I don't know anywhere where that could be, so yeah, I guess it's going there. I can't imagine anywhere else it would go. Okay. I figured it would be wise for us to first test it out. So I'll be using MagSafe is useful for something. And our power button is on this. It's got to begin the very painful experience of... Oh, that wasn't actually the hard that time. Okay. Do we need the battery? No, it's just not plugged in. Okay, now it should work. And it boots it alright, so clearly it didn't break anything too hard. And now, in a pure act of desperation, it should boot from whatever it can find. In this case, it being Linux. Hey! I mean, this thing's in the way, but it works. Which, that's really impressive. So that means there's a form of full disk encryption that you can use on a MacBook of this age, which, you know, BitLocker needs TPM. Okay? And then, what's the other one? Okay, FileVault wasn't introduced for like another 4 years yet. But nah, Kubuntu, that works fine. Because unlike the other ones, this doesn't use a TPM, it uses a master key. Which, I mean, it makes it super inconvenient, but it works. And it does work. Okay, so now we can just... It's off now. At least I think it is. So I could just unplug this. And now we can finish putting it together. So because there's nothing else in here that needs to be done, all of the injustices have already been performed, all we have to do is just sort of put it back. Now we just gotta make sure all these snaps snap. Now if it doesn't sound like you're breaking something, that means you're not doing it hard enough. But if you see metal starting to bend, then you probably are doing it hard enough, and you should probably let up a little bit. So okay, after going through all of this and doing everything and stuff, you now have a MacBook Pro with your flavor of Linux on it. It's like, well, what do you do with it now? Well, what's the point of actually doing this? And well, not only do you have a more modern operating system, because this isn't... Interesting thing about this, since this computer is 32-bit and it's stuck that way for the rest of its life unless, I don't know, somehow managed to find an actual BGA resoldering station and put a Core 2 Duo in it, this thing is stuck 32-bit forever. And that means we can only run a 32-bit operating system like this one, which is Kubuntu 18.04, which 18.04 is the latest version that this will ever be able to run, because after that they stopped writing software for 32-bit or i386 processors. So there we go. So now, as you can see, we are running Ubuntu, not Ubuntu, it's Kubuntu, which is based on Ubuntu, Kubuntu 1804 on the MacBook Pro on an SSD. Well, of course, it wasn't really that hard. But I'm sure you're wondering, well, now that Linux is on here, what can we do with it? And well, that's pretty interesting. Because now we have a more modern operating system, we can use more modern hardware. Even some more modern Apple hardware. So, as it probably shouldn't be that hard, you can just turn the mouse on and connect it via Bluetooth. And as we can see, here it is. So we just gotta click on it and click next, and it should work, right? Put it here so it works better. Right. Okay. So I'm not easily discouraged, even when I probably should be. Ah! There is one other thing I think we can do with this. Give me a sec. So, because I didn't want to have to deal with a 500 megabyte per second transfer speed, I just downloaded this on a different computer. And that took way too long. I'm gonna log in, I'll be right back. So, okay, alright. Now, the thing about this, though, is that as soon as the legacy launcher goes, it seems Minecraft on any 32-bit computer, I think, I'm not sure about Windows 10 stance on 32-bit. That might be the last operating system that supports it, but as we can see, that the Microsoft accounts will no longer work in the legacy launcher. But luckily I got my Minecraft account 2 years ago. Crap. Okay, there must be another way to do this. You know, there's a joke I could make here, but I won't. Turns out, small problem. Can't connect, you know, from just Wi-Fi to wired. You have to go from wired to Wi-Fi. Oh boy, I have an idea. Nice. To think, can I throw all this effort just to play some bloody Minecraft? Okay. So now it should work. Because we're connected to that hotspot instead of the Wi-Fi downstairs. And oh boy, I think this is probably the same speed. I wonder if there's just something wrong with the Wi-Fi adapter in this. Maybe I forgot to plug the antenna in or something. This is slow, and it's also melting the table, which isn't preferable. Something's definitely wrong here. System load. We're not using that much RAM, we're not using that much memory. We're not even using any network. So, something is definitely amiss here. You know what exactly that is? I don't know. Uh-oh. So here we are, just low-key launching 1.16.5, the most latest version. And as we can see, same problem this time with 1.16. So I guess 1.16 is just not going to work. Let's see if maybe we can get the most latest version we can get to work in macOS to launch in multi-MC, so we can at least say we can run the same version in the two. As we can see, the CPU usage is going through the roof. This thing is probably somewhere between Housefire and TJ Maxx, and oh dear. Exit code 127. Assertion file name equals null. Oh, this is a problem with. That's the problem with OpenJDK 11. That I can fix. So. Successful, blah 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 blah, version 1.8, yep, okay. Doing it. And let's try that again. Oh my goodness, it worked! Right. Oh my. Oh my goodness, it's Minecraft. That actually sort of works, okay. Whoa, this might be worse than it was in macOS. Here we go. Is it gonna work? Fully? Is it? Oh my! Oh my! It's working. Kind of. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you 2 FPS. This is epic. I mean, well, okay, we can improve our experience a little bit. See if maybe. So now that we have everything turned down, we have a couple more FPS now. In terms of proprietary drivers, we have no proprietary drivers. Okay, then. Okay. So, you know, Minecraft works and everything. Minecraft 1.11, that works. Mostly. But what about if you want to play on the oldest queue simulator in Minecraft? 1.11 won't cut it. You need 1.12.2. Assuming I can get this glitchy trackpad, me and the boys out of crystals and peeps. So as we can see, the oldest queue simulator in Minecraft is working. Wow, look at that. We're getting 30 FPS in a place where there's literally nothing. Wow, that's great. Yeah, this is normal. You know, I am trying desperately to find a purpose or use case for this. And I so far haven't found one yet. I swear we're digging through the bottom of the barrel to find something this can do. Can it play a bloody DVD? Oh wow, that's loud. Crap, I guess not. Nope, can't play DVD. Not even a DVD. So, okay, I mean, I'll give it the benefit of doubt. I'm just gonna say that the actual DVD drive itself is broken. So honestly, there's nothing else I can think of. I mean, you know, this performed much worse than I thought it would. So, just to give some more numbers here, give a screen fetch and a neo fetch. It's taking time to take a screen fetch. As we can see, it's just MacBook Pro, Ubuntu 18.04, which it's Kubuntu, obviously. Ubuntu 5.4, uptime 11 minutes, packages 2099. And just, okay, like, watch. Okay, alright. I'm saying that a lot in this video, aren't I? So then I do NeoFetch, which I honestly prefer NeoFetch better. No, that was quicker. Yeah, that was quicker. So, okay, in the end, I'm having a lot of trouble answering this question now. I didn't expect it to do like this, honestly. That being, why would you do this? And, okay, it does perform like crap, I will admit. I know the only things we tried was, like, Minecraft, but even just using the computer, like, while I wasn't recording, to move files and to use the terminal, it's really bad. I mean, I use the Core 2 Duo T8400, I believe it was, or I could be completely wrong. Back a couple years ago, and it wasn't this bad. At least I don't remember it being this bad. I mean, okay, why am I opening this up? But okay, the SSD helps. It does help. It boots up in like 15 seconds. It boots up faster than my T420 does. But because it has a spinning drive, some Seagate Momentus hybrid drive, and that's fine. It doesn't have to boot up quickly. I just want... It's a perfect blend between space and speed, but, you know, I really expected more from this. If you have this computer laying around, and if you insist on using it for something, Linux is a good choice, because your only other two options is macOS 10.6. I killed it. What happened? What did I do? I just opened Dolphin. Right. Okay. Yeah, this thing you could probably fry an egg on the bottom of it. And that's another thing. So, there's a program called Max Fan Control you might have heard of. And I usually, whenever I use this computer, I always install Max Fan Control and put a really aggressive fan curve on it. Because this thing will cook itself before it turns the fans on. And that is definitely true. I can't leave my hand on the bottom of this thing. But, you know, I've used Windows 7 and I've used macOS 10.6 on this, and I feel like they both performed better. But the only reason I say that is probably because I tried to do modern tasks on the whole Linux thing, but yeah, I remember it at least playing YouTube better. I was at 144p, and it was buffering, it was buffered, but it just wouldn't play. I'm thinking it's probably something to do with the open source graphics card drivers. That's what I'm going to blame, is the Xorg drivers for the graphics card. Because the other ones would have used proprietary drivers and kexts. But, yeah, I really expected this to do better. But, okay. Now, between all of those three, why would you install Linux on one of these things? And the answer to that is, you could compile your own software. It's just, this is the most modern operating system you can put on here, period. And, you know, for lighter stuff, like if you want to make really simple Java, or just coding in general, that would work really well on this. And the screen is better than my T420s. Which a T420 would cost like a little bit more than this, and it has 4 cores. Or 2-core 4-thread i5 I think I have in mind. But here I go trying to turn around everything with it. But I'm honestly just still blown away this runs so bad. I mean, yeah, I don't have any words. That's weird, but well, I guess I don't need any more because, well, thanks for watching, and, see you guys in the next one. Maybe I'll install Windows XP on it next. That would be interesting. Maybe that will run better.